This time on the John Deere Drive Green farm, we'll really start to find out just how bad at planting I actually am. And with this brand new 1775 by JHHG that is Rowcrop ready, this is John Deere Drive Green except it's FS22. Let's get this catastrophe started.
Feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. My friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep your 9 to 5. Happy with the simple life.
Now, top of the morning to you laddies. My name's Rental Man Buck. Welcome back to the John Deere Drive Green farm on No Creek, row crop ready. As stated in the title, we're going to be doing some row crop planting, and you're going to see just how bad I actually am. The one time that you could have seen me actually do this was when I did our previous episode where we were doing all of the disc work on Frank Poole's field. But this time we're going to show you guys how bad I am at actually planting. With the 8530 and JHHG's re-release of the 1775 24-row row crop ready, that's the only real difference, we're going to be able to make our planting season a little bit more logical because I had a 12-row header and I had to plant with a 16-row planter, but now we have the correct planter to header with because we'll have 2 passes for the combine to 1 pass with this. We'll be planting Frank's field 1 to exactly to the right of us. He still has his magnum sitting out. And field number 2. If I pop up my little map, you guys can see field 1 is directly to our right, field 2 is just adjacent of that. Moving the Scottsdale out of the way, as the planter already is full of seed as is, we'll just keep this on the side in case we run out, which I highly doubt for this small of a field we will in the slightest. A quick progress update though on that Chevy. It's the closest it's ever been. I actually just found another major issue with it this morning, being that flatbed did not have one of the correct attach joints, so it wasn't even able to pull the seed tender itself. But we have that fixed. I'm scrambling it down to the last few little kinks that I want to figure out. But for anybody who has not played John Deere Drive Green, if you can remember correctly, when the mission that they had you planting corn, they had you planting corn with a seed drill. It just didn't really work. It was kind of weird. But this time, we're planting with the correct style of planter. And hopefully my skills aren't going to be the death of me on this, because we got to try and plant 24 rows and not make us look like a ding-dong. And the row crop ready mod I actually like because it teaches you how to actually do the job and do it in the correct manner. A lot of people might run like a 48-row planter and then go out there and expect that you're going to run with all these different styles and sizes of equipment, and then you come to find out when you plant the row crop version, it's not that. You find out the hard way why farming people get so mad at the people who play this game. If anybody remembers back in FS17 though, when No Creek originally came out, one thing that made this map famous was that the person who made the fields never made them actual fields. You had to make your own fields on this map. I would say this map's been the one of like the most innovative, gotta try new things. Now I'll probably wait until the next field to throw up the drone, because this field I bet you I could probably get pretty close to perfect on my lines, but the next field, oh my, that last time I had gaps, I had massive holes, I had a lot of overlap. I mean, for the very first time I ever planted row crop, it was bad. It looked ugly. I do want to make this a note. If anybody has any good ideas that I could do for this farm, any video ideas, please let me know down in the description down below, because again, this is not seasonal. I can do whatever the heck I want, when I want, how I want, and where I want. So to all of you farmers out there, calling all farmers, let me know what kind of a video I can do that you guys would like to see, or at least try to see me attempt, because you know dang well I'm not a farmer myself. And it probably would be even more hilarious to watch somebody who has no idea what they're doing try to do it, and then you have to sit back and watch them struggle. I bet that'd be a lot of fun for you guys. So our headlands are now complete, and I can make out where the end of my rows are. I'm going to set... I don't have GPS. But I do have this thing called the old-fashioned stick. Oh, wait a second. I messed that up. Turned off the planter. There we go. Ridge marker going out. Here we go. And yep, I'm already overlapping. Nice. Just plant right on top of it. Don't even act like it's there. Just plant right over the top of it. Now the lines on the end are definitely going to be rough because they don't have row shut-offs at all. And I'll flip my ridge marker now since I'm past the trees. A good question, though, for you guys is, on your farm, who do you have do the planting? I, for one, don't do the planting on my own farm because, you know, I don't have this thing called a farm. But it's kind of always, I've heard certain people on farms, they have a system. This guy plants the corn, this guy plants the beans, because another joke of a farm is that the guy who's planting should be the one that's harvesting, because he knows if the lines are screwed up, he only has himself to yell at. I would probably plant a little bit faster, but I really don't want to mess up my lines because I think I'm actually doing a half-decent job staying in my line since I've used the ridge marker. But I'd hope you wouldn't be able to mess up a field that you only have to really do 3 passes on. I would say around where my area is at, 12 to 16 row planters are probably about the biggest that you see run, because no one really runs more than a 12 row or an 8 row head. At the end of the pass, let's take our ridge marker up. Don't overlap very much. Last time I also did like 2 or 3 passes where I completely shut off the planter way earlier than I should have. So I'm going to get the rest of this field finished up, and then I'm going to move my way over to field number 1, which is Frank Poole's original field that we did our first episode on. And we'll get the drone up, get some really nice shots, and then we'll fast forward a little bit. We can maybe get a little bit of spraying in. I didn't think about that. Let's do a little bit of spraying in. Please believe me, people, I am trying my absolute best to make this so you do not want to absolutely throat punch me. I think this is going to be a better, like, turnout-wise than my last time planting, is every single line you see that has, like, a big gap in the middle. Yeah, that's what my first lines of planting ever looked like doing row crop. As long as my rows are somewhat in line. There we go. Let's finish this off quick. Now that we're back up at the Scottsdale, we'll fold back in the planter. And I want to see, because I know there was a couple spots where I noticed that, like, the lines looked like they weren't actually planting. That's planted, that's not planted. And then in here, it, like, shuts off because it's planted, but it's on the old row crop lines. This is what I meant by my planting skills were really off. I thought I was like, oh man, I'm right on the money. Nope, you completely missed an entire gap. And I think down towards that end, there's a one pass that's like at least 4 or 5 rows wide. That's just, I completely missed it. So I'm hoping that once we fast forward it here a couple months, I might see a little bit of an improvement over my planting skills. That field I'm not too worried about. They'll be overlapping on the end rows, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as what this whole field is. This one's going to be rough no matter what. While we're waiting on that, I'm going to run back to the house quick. We're going to take the Chevy with us because we did not use nearly as much seed as I thought we would. We'll swap over to the sprayer, get that ready to take with us, and we'll get a bit of chemical and Roundup on there to keep our crops good for the harvest season, but also we'll be able to see how bad my lines really are. Well, Buck made an oopsie. When he skipped ahead, he didn't realize that it was going a lot faster than he thought it was. So the map didn't have time to render because I didn't have the HUD on. Yeah, we may or may not have accidentally skipped a harvest. So no using of the sprayer today. We might go grab the combine, though. That'd be kind of fun. And I want to take a quick look, though, at how well my lines turned out. There's a little patch there. This is a lot better than it was last time. There's one little spot where I didn't shut the rows off. Well, I shut the rows off a little early. That spot's missed. That spot's open. Overall, though, that's not really that bad. Like, my rows aren't as atrocious as I thought they'd be. That's like the one consistent line that got messed up going down the back. But otherwise, that's pretty good rows. At least if I were to say so myself. Let's go check out my other field, because this field should be a no-brainer. Pretty much perfect planting pattern the entire way. My end rows look good. There's one little mess up right there, one little mess up right there, and I think that's just because when I went back and planted, I didn't go and fix that. One little shut off for the rows there. That's really not that bad. I'm actually pretty proud of this. But yeah, there's going to be no spraying, so we're going to go and grab the STS and maybe get a little bit of harvesting action in. Now we have our little ordeal fixed up. We have our Kilbro wagon. We also have Frank brought out his old semi that has a 28-foot Mauer trailer. It's a, I can't remember exactly what Freightliner that is, but it's an old cab over. And it's just a small, like, extra truck that he has sitting around. And I'm going to start cutting into my end rows. This will be where following the rows really becomes kind of a pain because you're following actual rows now. So just keep my snoot as close as I can to this row, and I should be right on the outside. Now, why this field is so rough is beyond me. But I am going to set my cruise control to 3. I don't want to go any faster than 3 because I don't know exactly where my rows stand on this. This field is really rough. Like, I'm bouncing around quite a bit in here. If I follow the snoot in the row, though, I should stay right on target with my end snoot. But rounding the end rows at the moment, if we look at it from above, it does. It actually bends with the ground. I'm like mesmerized kind of by how well this works. I will give Grant some kudos because this is difficult to see going around a bend. You just got to try and trust yourself that you're staying in the row. 379 bushel corn. That is outrageous. Now, my only real, like, gripe that I have with the Rowcrop Ready is that the crops always overlap, so it's a lot harder to go around. Like, at this bend, it's a lot easier because it's not overpopulated. But if I were to go around that headland pass, I'm going to run into so many problems with the corn header just because of the fact that there's so much overlap you can't see the rows. I'm trying to stay in my row as best as possible, but for right now, it's just kind of difficult. A downside, however, is that Kilbro's is 1,000 bushel cart, and that trailer is only 750 bushel. So we're going to have to kind of watch what we're doing for capacity-wise. But now I can at least start the second headland, as I wasn't going to be able to make it back around again at like 58%. Overall, I'd say I love this Rowcrop mod. It really brings a whole new dynamic to the game. But not being a farmer, not knowing how to actually do this stuff, and the fact that it overlaps so badly because there's no such thing as the row shutoffs with the mod right now, it just becomes so crowded and you cannot see where you're going if you're trying to harvest inside the cab. Like right now you could see, but especially when we get down to the bend over here with the corner, oh dear. So coming up will be a perfect example of what I mean by everything so overcrowded. This is a regular row, and then this is an end row pass. These things will cross together when I go around the bend that goes to this tree. You see how it gets kind of clustered? Watch how the snoots just like completely disappear and you can't see anything. You can't, there's no rows. There's nothing to look at. The only thing that really ever sucked, though, about John Deere Drive Green was how you could never dump the combine. It always had, like, a full yellow hopper and you just harvested the crop. And I don't even think you did. No, you did at least have to pick the header that was on it. But all the missions that you did, you either harvested beans or you harvested corn, and it's like the combine would have definitely filled up within that time, and it never did. So you never got to dump it off. That's one thing that was better about Farm Sim. Holy cow, we might actually have to just slow it down for the fear of shaking the combine in 2 pieces. But I'll set up Daryl. We'll pop up into the drone quick, take a peeky-weeky at what this looks like getting harvested from above. We'll see you guys towards the end of the video. I'm honestly astonished. I think now because you actually are only planting the certain things, like look at how much boom, 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 you can't like actually go across the rows anymore without riding like super rough. So you really want to follow the rows, otherwise your poor old Farmer Joe is gonna get shaken. That is pretty much all we had for this episode, guys. Thank you all so much for checking this one out. Be sure to smash that like button, subscribe down below. If you want to see more content based on the John Deere Drive Green series itself, hopefully I won't actually mess it up this time where, you know, I try to go and spray and I end up fast forwarding it to harvest. We could definitely do more content like that. And this is not seasonally based, so I need your guys' ideas on how to run a farm while we're doing it with the John Deere way. Be sure to check out the Boomstick Club for all the up-to-date content from me and the gang. You guys already know who is in it, and I shall see you all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out. Peace.